Tina Fedeski.
Good morning and bonjour to you all. I'll make a few introductory remarks before I present our keynote speaker. And as you heard, today, November 20th, is National Child Day and World Children's Day internationally, recognizing the United Nations adoption 35 years ago of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. By signing and ratifying the convention, Canada has promised and is committed to ensuring that every child is heard, respected, and has the opportunity to reach their full potential. Next slide, please. Today, UNICEF Canada will be hosting their annual Youth Summit in Ottawa, and their youth advocates will be speaking at the Senate breakfast and to ministers and MPs to raise awareness of issues that matter to them. And monuments across Canada will be lit up blue to honor young people and their rights. UNICEF will also be launching their global flagship report on the state of the world's children later today. Next slide, please. There's no better measure of the greatness of a community than the well-being of its children. And for the last several years, we have been working with Ottawa City Councillors and UNICEF to develop Ottawa as a child-friendly city. And in 2018, the then mayor proclaimed November 20th as Child Friendly Day in Ottawa. There's much work to be done. As a next step, we held a Child and Youth Summit last week at City Hall, where children and youth could ask questions and give recommendations to city councillors and to city staff in different departments regarding what kind of city they would like to live in. Next slide, please. Of relevance today, Article 31.2 states that state parties, which means governments, shall respect and promote the right of the child to participate fully in cultural and artistic life and shall encourage the provision of appropriate and equal opportunities for cultural, artistic, recreational, and leisure activity. Next slide, please. So how is civil society incorporating the arts into the health system and into children's lives? At the University of Ottawa, the Music and Health Research Institute was opened in 2020 to explore the link between music and mental health. And just a few weeks ago, they opened up their groundbreaking Music and Mental Health Research Clinic at the Royal Ottawa Hospital. Next slide, please. The Institute has several ongoing collaborations with researchers at CHEO. Dr. Ryan Rourke is conducting a pilot study on the impact of music on children with cochlear implants, recognizing that outcomes are more than about good speech and hearing levels on audiograms, absolutely important, but wanting to create also joy and maximum quality of life for these children. Dr. Hans Lochmuller is investigating the impact of music education for children and on myotonic dystrophy type 1. Next slide, please. And our stellar pediatric residents and medical students are also contributing to the growing evidence base for music in improving child and youth health through 3 SAGE projects, and I'm recognizing the residents and medical students here. Dr. Sana Gill is conducting a systematic review on the impact of participation in school-based music programs on the psychosocial well-being of children and youth. Dr. Yusra Iman Bennett et al. Is conducting a systematic review on the impact of community arts-based interventions on child and adolescent health and well-being. And Dr. Ashley Buffoon et al. Is she's leading a clinical study on the impact of social prescribing the arts with a grant from the National Arts Centre, the impact on adolescent mental health and well-being. And this is a collaboration with CHEO Psychiatry Mental Health Outpatients in the School of Psychology. Next slide, please. And now to the introduction of our keynote speaker today. After a life-transforming youth orchestra experience, Tina Fedeski went on to study flute at the Guildhall School of Music in London, England. She enjoyed a successful performing career with various orchestras and festivals in Europe and Canada. In 1999, in partnership with her husband, Gary Macmillan, she opened the Leading Note print music store on Elgin Street, Until its sale in 2020, it was recognized nationally and became a hub of the classical music scene in Ottawa. Motivated by her passionate belief in the transformative power of music, Tina co-founded Orchestra, a social development program with the mission to empower kids and build community through music. Since 2007, Tina has served as executive and artistic director of Orchestra, offering free programming to thousands of students from equity-deserving communities who demonstrate how music gives them a voice that transcends differences and celebrates love, courage, excellence, and belonging. Miss Tina has proudly accepted many awards, including from the Canadian Institute for Child Health, and in 2016, she was awarded the Meritorious Service Medal by the Governor General of Canada for creating the Orchestra program. Tina was recently awarded an honorary degree from Carleton University and inducted into the Order of Ottawa just last week. Now, I first heard of Tina in 2006 when we were opening the Vanier Social Pediatric Hub, and I heard people talking about the opening of a hub in Vanier, which clearly wasn't ours. And I came to know it was the second site for Orchestra, the first one being on Bronson Avenue, which we'll hear more about. And soon afterwards, we were socially prescribing for our kids Orchestra program. And I have to say, we weren't using the language of social prescribing in those days, but we were referring kids for what we thought was a music education experience for our underserved kids. Little did I know it was much more than music education. And so we are thrilled to have Tina join us today to give us our keynote. Okay, over to you, Dr. Miss Tina.
Thank you. And thank you for this kind invitation. I am so honored to be here and present to you about the power of music and how it really transforms lives. So as Dr. Sue said, we started in 2007. We actually just started with 27 children. And now we serve over 750 children and youth, ages 5 through 18, both in school and after school, from over 62 linguistic and cultural backgrounds. And many of our orchestra students are newcomers. One of my very favorite conversations is when parents come to sign up their kids in September and their child is 5 years old, and they say, how long does this course go for, thinking it will be 6 weeks? And I said, oh, till they finish high school. And some of these kids have literally have started when they were 5 and come to us after school 2 or 3 times a week until they graduate from high school. So you can imagine the relationship it's really like, it's like family, truly like family. So Orchestra's mission is to empower kids and build community through the universal language of music. And we do that by providing kids from low-income families with free instruments and music lessons, which gives them the chance to learn important life skills through making music together. If you imagine what it takes to play an instrument, it takes tremendous self-discipline, patience, and determination, grit, it really, and to play music together, because the mission of Orchestra is about not just playing an instrument, but playing music together, forming a community. Playing music together teaches all of us how to form a community out of incredibly diverse parts, whether you're playing the trombone, as in this picture, or the recorder, or singing, or the violin. Such diverse parts. And it builds a community that is so much bigger and more beautiful than our individual selves, which in turn creates a fantastically close community. We believe that these benefits will serve not only our children, but in turn their communities, and the ripple effect will be felt in our world. So I will talk a little bit about the who, why, when and what. We'll start with the the where. So hubs are in the heart of low-income, high-needs areas. And we started in our center hub, which is located in the Bronson Center in Chinatown area. And that's where we've been since 2007. In 2016, as Dr. Sue was saying, we opened our Vanier hub. And both of those hubs now are at capacity with about 155, 160 kids that come to us after school every week, 1, 2, or 3 times a week, depending on their age and level. And in April this year, we opened our Herongate hub. So that's a small hub, and we're just gradually building it. Again, a very, very high needs area. So our philosophy is really based on our inspiration, which is El Sistema in Venezuela. El Sistema began in 1975 by a man called Maestro Abreu, who was a musician, economist, and politician, and he could see the rampant poverty in Venezuela, and decided if he could put an instrument into the hands of the children and youth, it would transform their lives. And boy, did it ever transform their lives. And El Sistema went on to become the world example and inspiration of how music can be an agent of social change. Now there are hundreds of El Sistema inspired programs across the world. For various reasons, orchestra was actually the first out of South and Central America, because my sister had moved to Venezuela in 2006 and all the stars lined up. But their philosophy became similar to ours. We were deeply inspired, but of course, Venezuela and Caracas is fundamentally different to Ottawa. So what we did is we adapted our program to resonate with our community. And so on this slide, the philosophy slide, you can see the philosophy essentially is the Sistema-inspired philosophy, which is kid-powered. We put the ball in the court of the kids for them to learn the power of making good choices. Playing together teaches the kids how to build a harmonious connection. Peer-to-peer teaching and mentorship. The teachers aren't above, they're further along the line of learning. And so that's a very different approach to the way our relationship with the kids. And of course, if it wasn't fun, the kids wouldn't come. It is totally up to the kids whether they come to and continue with us. Our retention rate is over 90%. So that sense of fun and being part of a family and belonging is absolutely key. And being part of the bigger community. We do so many events in the community. We are deeply connected, and I certainly hope from these last few months that we've become more engaged with CHEO, because it would be so near and dear to our hearts. When we started the program, you will see a picture of me there. The woman on my left there is Margaret. She's the co-founder along with my husband. And Margaret and I kept Bridgehead open, I think, for a while there. And we decided before we opened, as we were literally making up the program as we went along, we needed our values, our why. And so we came up with 10. And I've got a little video here which shows 3 of them, and I'll just play a few of them. They are integral to what we do and who we are. Not only do the kids learn them when they're 5 years old and continue learning them as they come into the program, we perform them. So all the audience participates. And so this is the first, it's the first 2 and the final leading notes. So I'll just play it for you right now. So the other leading notes still are around being helpful, being kind, treasuring your instrument, uh, posture, sitting up and being attentive. And they are just, as you could see, really fun. But those leading notes become part and parcel of who we are. And it's starting with respect. And we use the leading notes not just for performance and learning, we use them as a teaching tool. If somebody is, a little bit not quite focused or misbehaving, we'll say, what's the first leading note? And we just have to say excellence, and they finish off the sentence and say is a habit. And it's really powerful. So the programming that we have is Kiddywinks, which is a fun rhythm songs introduction to music, really high energy. Kid Singers, which is our choral program. Kid Starters, again, starts the kids off learning basics about music and sets them up for success. Kid Players is the band program. Kid Stringers, the string program, and Orchestra is with the band and the strings together. And in fact, we often do that at a much younger age than 12. So for me, the most important thing is that the child finds the right instrument. I always say if I'd had the opportunity and only to play the violin, there would be no orchestra right now because I cannot imagine playing the violin. For me, the flute was it. And it gave me the voice and the confidence and the opportunities that I then realized that so few children had the opportunity to experience that life transforming experience of playing music with so many other people. And again, it's not just about the music, it's not hearing just the harmonies and the melodies and sharing that experience. It's the discipline, it's the listening, it's listening with the head and the heart. It is the teamwork, it is the respect, it is the joy, it is the friendships. There are just so many aspects to it. So we take we call it the honk and squeak. And so the kids get to try all the different instruments, and we take that very seriously. So the kids really find the instrument that resonates with them. Our Kiddlywink story is an interesting one because we started Kiddlywinks as an after-school program, and it's still an after-school program. But in our original lessons, the school that we were at wanted us to put on concerts during school time, and the teachers in the school, it was back in 2011, so it was very early, and the kids involved with Kiddlywinks were of a wider age range and grades in school. When we put on the concerts in the school, about 2 years after we'd started the program, the teachers in the school could see the difference in the kids who were involved with our after school program. They could see how different they were in school. And of course, their lens on the kids was completely unique. There's no way we could have understood that. So they asked us, how can we get this into the schools? So we started a pilot project with the Ottawa Carleton District School Board back in 2013, and we've been in schools in the high needs areas. We're currently in 20 classrooms in the public school board. Our teacher goes into the classes, the grade 1, grade 2 classes, teaches Kiddlywinks, but also teaches the teachers, the classroom teachers, so they can practice, and it empowers the teacher and therefore changes the culture and the reach of the school. And it's just been such a huge success. Talking of success through music, this last year we welcomed over 300 kids. The one statistic that we are so proud of is that 100% of Orchestra graduates have completed high school and pursued post-secondary education. Um, and we are, of course, working with the children who are from very underserved communities. And of course, this statistic is highly unusual for their environment. Um, for me, the most important one for me is the next one is the 98% of students say they are more aware of how important it is to be kind to others. So we are we keep track, and it's very important that behavior, respectful, kind behavior is absolutely core to who we are. And so you can see the other results here. We are so busy with external events. I don't know, we've got about 6 or 7 events in the next 2 weeks, um, which is just a joy. Orchid's just values. We distilled our leading notes down to love, courage, excellence, and belonging. Love, well, it says it all. The love between the kids is palpable. If you're able to come to a concert, uh, you would feel the love of between the kids, with the teachers, with the community, with the audience. It's palpable. And there was no better way of understanding the love of how the love kept us going during the pandemic. We are allergic to the word pivot, so we called it modulate. It sounded way more musical. We modulated to online programming, and it obviously was a huge challenge, but the kids stuck with us, and I think it gave them a sense of belonging, a different community that was really, really important. And we put on some amazing concerts, weaving together. Each of our students had to send in recordings, and then we would edit them together to create a whole. And it was quite an experience, very obviously very challenging, but this gave us a connection and a whole, and it was so, so important. Sue, I'm not sure, did you want to say anything?
You said it all, Tina, but this is just my one of my favorite slides actually, because we now know the impact of isolation on the mental health and well-being of kids during the pandemic, and you were able to cross boundaries of language, culture, the technology to be able to include the kids. Look at them; they're in their bedrooms, they're isolated in their bedrooms, playing together. Well, recorded, but contributing to the whole. So I just think it's just a brilliant example of what you're able to do.
Thank you, Sue. The next one is courage. The power of music gives children a voice that transcends differences and fosters a community that celebrates diversity, excellence, joy, and belonging. This picture here is of Pearl. Pearl, I've always felt it really important for public speaking to become part and parcel of a child's upbringing. Mostly because I was so shy as a kid and really struggled in that area. And so I wanted to make sure that the kids didn't, and they had opportunities to develop that. So I framed public speaking as what we do in our concerts is our children curate. They know, they introduce all the songs, share their experiences, and so I made public speaking a reward. So all the kids, if I say who'd like to introduce, they all put their hands up. And Pearl introduced one time. She told me that she doesn't even speak in her class. She's so terrified of speaking out, and hearing her own voice and giving value to her own voice. But she decided she wanted to introduce. So we coached and really developed how she wanted to present herself, and she just expanded. Her confidence just grew. It was really quite something. Now she does the thank yous at every concert. She's confident in her school and participates and contributes to classroom activities. And so it's just been so wonderful to see Pearl and all the other kids wanting to take part in that. And it takes courage. So that's a large part of our courage. Orchestra helps kids become virtuoso adults. So research continues to show, there's so much research out there, that music education significantly benefits children's development and that these effects last a lifetime. This picture is my favorite picture. If I had to have one, and I tell you there's thousands and thousands of pictures throughout the years, I love this picture. These kids, the boy on the left is a Karen refugee. He arrived in Ottawa in 2006, speaking no English, never having experienced running water or electricity. By November 2007, he was walking down Bronson Avenue with a cello on his back. I've told that story so many times and it still gets to me. That's Gareth. He's now doing his master's in education in the United States and is a sought after volleyball coach as well as musician. The other three are all either finished university or they're in the master's level or finished university. They all are still really involved and great friends. So these old Kidstro is what we call our alumni, are so key to our success story. Not just orchestra's success, their success story, and they're still very, very involved. And my particular pride and joy. To show you exactly how this playing together really sounds and the different levels of the kids singing and playing together, I'd just like to play you a very short clip of our concert in June. This is of Baba Yetu, which is actually the Lord's Prayer in Swahili, and the music is actually from a video game. So that Baba Yetu really got everyone. It was just a joy. So you can see we have in our concerts about 160 kids participating, ages 5 through 18, many old Kidstra and our teachers and community members volunteering to help make the event happen. It is quite a production. So I thought that this might resonate with you doctors, the magic pill. I've called music, making music together, the magic pill since we started this. And I imagine if the pharmaceutical industry could invent a pill that had this many benefits with no side effects except long-term joy, friendships, and creativity. Well, no need to invent it. It already exists. So our fourth value is excellence. And our goal is not to create virtuoso musicians, but help nurture virtuoso human beings. And sometimes we do both.
Orchestra creates possibility. Students of orchestra have their own unique challenges and come from many different backgrounds. An orchestra teaches them that with hard work, anything is possible. It starts off with practicing their instruments, and then they apply it to all aspects of their life. orchestra has created endless possibilities for me, as well as for everyone in the orchestra family.
That was Peter, and that video was made in 2017. He is just finishing his master's at McGill in clarinet performance. And I don't think he will mind me sharing with you that Peter, he's of Cuban and Russian background, so there were many languages for him to deal with as a kid. Language was not his forte. He didn't actually speak until he was 5. And when he found the clarinet, you could see was his voice. And he grew so much through the clarinet, through the joy and challenges of playing music together. And it was and there he is speaking. Over the many years we worked in concert with his clarinet playing and his communications skills, and he just exploded as a person on every level, the virtuoso human being as well as musician. So proud of Peter, but again, creating professional musicians is not our goal. He is a world-class exception. So if you are available, there is literally no other way to share the beauty of music and the power to change lives than seeing the kids in action. The biggest concert is December 17th in Dominion Chalmers at 6:30. It's free, and I would highly encourage you to come and experience the joy. I would say if you don't get choked up from the hope and love and excellence and courage of these kids, we haven't done our job. And it's also very important to me as the leader that this concert is not, I'm sorry, your typical kids show where you're thinking, oh my God, when is this going to end? When you leave, you want to know when the next one is. So I would love to see any and all of you there. Thank you. Sue, do you want me to play the video now? Yeah.
I'll just introduce that in 2022, we were awarded a PHAC, Public Health Agency of Canada grant to develop, implement and evaluate the first social prescribing program for children and youth in Canada at the Vanier Social Pediatric Hub. And I never get tired of seeing this video, which we created as part of our project. Hoping you enjoy.
La prescription sociale est un moyen permettant aux professionnels de la santé de mettre l'emphase sur l'aspect non médical de l'enfant, mais qui contribue à sa santé globale.
It can be anything from food and housing to social connection, physical activity, or time in nature.
Social prescribing allows children to get connected into their community by really focusing on what matters to them. And that's not something that is typically asked of them. What are their dreams? What are their wishes? What are their goals? And also, what are their strengths? And how can we build on those and really connect them into their community to really put them on a path to good health and well-being.
Ils ont participé à beaucoup d'activités. Elle a participé au Condité, parce qu'elle a aimé beaucoup. Et il y a beaucoup d'activités qui sont ajoutées à sa personnalité, à ses expériences. C'était un grand progrès. Je peux voir qu'il y a beaucoup de différences par rapport à Selma et par rapport à son frère aussi, Mahdi.
Je suis montée dans une vraie voiture de police et ils m'ont expliqué beaucoup de choses que les policiers faisaient et j'ai vraiment aimé en tout cas.
We have a new science of child development, and we know that adverse childhood experiences can impact the growing brain, its anatomy, its function, the stress system, and also the genes, which can then impact mental and physical health in adolescence, adulthood, and in fact the next generation. Social prescribing provides positive childhood experiences for children so that they can blossom and reach their full potential.
Grâce à l'outil principal qui est les 3 petites maisons, L'enfant va parler de ses inquiétudes, des belles choses qui se passent dans sa vie et de ses rêves. Et ensemble, nous allons co-créer la prescription sociale.
Dancing is like so therapeutic. It makes everyone feel better, but also it creates a little community of people that are coming to dance together.
What I really love about this program is because it breaks that limiting beliefs about dance. If it breaks that barrier, she could apply it to other areas of things that she may not be sure about herself.
En étant quelqu'un ayant un handicap moi-même, la danse était très thérapeutique pour moi et je crois que ça va avoir le même effet pour ces jeunes qui ont tant de rêves et d'ambition.
C'est vraiment bien, c'est vraiment quelque chose qui les aide à bouger.
Au camp de nature, le premier jour c'était un petit peu dur, mais le deuxième jour c'était bien. C'était le jour où on allait découvrir des fossiles. J'ai bien aimé les fossiles.
I enjoyed going on the swing. I also enjoyed drawing and painting.
We went to go and see some exploring. We were like little scientists.
The experience at Little Medical School was everything that I wanted it to be. I wanted to enroll because I really like the medical field.
Je pense que je serais un bon docteur finalement. Le docteur qui nous enseignait m'a dit que j'étais vraiment bon.
I learned a lot of new things and made a lot of friends.
Thank you. Et merci. We're open for questions, comments, discussion.
Thank you, Sue and Tina. That was amazing. And thank you for your amazing work. This is really, really amazing. And maybe you covered this, but my question is how is this funded? Because it's amazing that how do you have funds to keep this going? And if you can share with that.
Well, I know I didn't cover that at all. It's a challenge. Our budget right now with so many kids is 1.4 million. And we have to raise every single cent every year. We're slowly getting into some long sustainable funding, but sustainable, we're talking 2-3 years, nothing really long. So our funding comes from the city of Ottawa, the province, some very, very small federal amount, a lot of family foundations. And right from the beginning, we've had our 40%, over 40% of our budget is being covered by individual donors. So that's the relationship building that we've had since 2007. And our budget grew from 65,000 in the first year to 1.4 million because we have 30 teaching artists and 10 full-time staff and 3 part-time staff. So we've got a lot of people to organize. and our teaching artists are some of the best teachers in Ottawa because they not only have to engage the kids musically, but they teach the whole child. It's very holistic. So we've attracted some incredible teachers, and they've been with us a long time, which is also really great because that creates the consistency so important in a child's life.
Amazing, thank you. And I'm just thinking back to the slide that you showed with your upcoming concert. Maybe, Rachel, we could send that out to the department because I think after this presentation, many would be very interested in attending. And so, because this is truly inspirational and it's been a very amazing grand round. So anyone else with other questions for Tina or Sue? The comments in the chat, Tina, are all about how incredibly inspiring and great this work is.
Sorry. Pete is off again. Oh, sorry. As a musician, Peter, I love. Oh, Robert Zahar is a musician.
He's also a nature and forest therapist.
Wow.
And many other.
What's your instrument, Robert?
Clarinet and piano are my two main instruments.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's quite inspiring. I really loved your talk and presentation, and I was listening to the last bits about funding, and I know it's a challenge for all of us who do this work, trying to figure out how we keep this going. And you know, if social prescribing is important, which it is, you know, I wonder if it raises the question of you know, how can this be supported by taxpayer money? I mean, this really should be public funding.
It really should.
And when we think about a country like Canada that embraces this idea, this concept, you know, through the Canadian Health Act, public health, you know, universal coverage, no out-of-pocket expenses for medically necessary services, and thinking about the money that we would save with a healthier population from the very beginning, not when they're already well advanced in their natural disease, it absolutely makes sense, especially for a country that has a system set up. You know, in contrast to the U.S. or many other countries in the world that don't have a system that is so brilliantly set up as it was here.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's more than prevention. It's setting kids up for success. And I could, obviously I couldn't look in the crystal ball, but I could very clearly let you know, share that many of the kids would have gone down very different pathways, very, very different pathways without this experience, not just of playing music, but the peer influence of their friends that they make, because it's so positive. So they then make better decisions. So yeah, I absolutely couldn't agree with you more. And the funding is always a challenge. Fortunately, I think music attracts. We've been lucky in that way. That children playing music is an attractive thing, so people can feel it and see it. It's very, very real. It's not just a concept. So I think that helps, but it should be the norm. This is what should happen. And when we're in schools, it's just not happening in the schools, which is why our in-school program has made such a difference. Melissa.
We have another, Melissa, you're not first, sorry. Marita Smith has had her hand up for a long time, and then Melissa.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you for that, Tina and Dr. Bennett. That was phenomenal. Really going along the lines of the conversation you're having, I'm just wondering what's the best way if we identify kids, like lots of folks at CHEO work with kids that would have an interest that would benefit. What's the best way to send them to you?
Well, right now, the way we operate is that we are very strict well, not very strict. I mean, we make the rules, so we can break the rules. But what we try to do is set it up as a community program. So it's not just a community for poor kids. We never want to be labeled that. We want to be serving within a community that is not getting served as well as other communities. And that can include kids who are coming from families of a much higher income. So we will mix it up a little bit, and the higher income families will contribute towards our program. That's about 4% of our kids. All that to say is that we accept kids within a certain demographic. So what our long-term goal is to open more hubs so we can accept more children from different areas. But maybe just send me an email, and if you've got children, we can be more mindful of the children that really need that opportunity. And if they're of the area, we can make it happen.
Could I also put a pitch in for the Music and Health Research Institute? If any of the departments are interested in looking at research projects, advocacy projects for the impact that music might make for their populations of kids, please do reach out to Gilles Como, the director at that institute. He'd be embracing collaboration.
And we certainly are open to more evaluation as well. So that we have quite a strict triangle way of evaluating. So we ask basically the same questions about musical behavior and community areas of the child's development. We ask the child, the student, the parent, and the teacher. So we've got a sort of a 360 understanding of the impact on the child. But we would love to do more.
Thanks, Melissa. Thanks for your patience.
Well, actually, kindred spirits think alike. Marita asked the question that I was going to ask, so thank you so much.
Perfect, thanks. Yeah. Any other questions for Tina or Sue?
Thank you so much.
Dr. Batra has a question.
Yeah, very impressive. Very impressive. It reminds me of old days when I used to play drums. But these days, probably they are not very popular because I didn't see anyone playing the drums in here. However, my question is that I would have liked to see the parental attitudes toward the whole thing. I did not see parental comments in there. I'm sure they must have been thrilled and excited.
Oh, we have the parents are very involved, and because they have to bring the kids, certainly the younger kids, and the feedback and volunteering and the participation is huge. In fact, one of the favorite quotes ever made was by a big funder who attended one of our concerts and said that the audience was almost as interesting as the children, because we've got brand new refugee parents in the audience to the mayor of Ottawa or the Governor General. So we've got the entire range of our Canadian population is represented in our audiences, and a lot of donors. But it's quite inspiring to watch both sides, observe both sides of the stage. It's inspiring.
All right, seeing no more questions, I would just thank you again. And the comments all in the chat are about how inspiring and thank you for all that you do. I think is summed up really well. It's been a truly inspiring Grand Rounds, and we do thank you for doing this for the kids in Ottawa.
Well, thank you. And I do hope that we can have a closer relationship. I know it would mean the world to the kids to be more involved with CHEO, because it's really, really important. Yeah.
Happy Children's Day, everybody.
Thank you. And Sue, maybe we need to get you to give us a epic social prescribing order set. A recommendation for something that when someone is being discharged from the ward or ED or something like that, that can be included when we see patients, like just have something that it's like a formal prescription and it's like, different things. I just wonder. Yeah.
We're early days of implementing social prescribing to institutionalize it as to be part of a general health intervention. So stay tuned. We're working with CHEO psychiatry, mental health outpatients at the moment, integrating there. So yeah, reach out, send me an email, and we can discuss further how we might do that.
Wonderful. Thank you again.